Ready Check Radio. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for the Relic Grind, Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast. Oh, yeah, one of my favorite times of the week. I get to jam to the music. And if we get to 1,000 Twitch followers, Kronos is going to dance to the music. Closing in on 600. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're watching us on YouTube or listening on the myriad of podcast platforms that you can take us with you in your earbuds, we appreciate it. Head on over to ReadyCheckRadio.com. Click on all the socials in the upper right-hand corner, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, all of the iTunes, all that stuff. Give us likes, give us follows if you like what we do here. That's the easiest way to keep us going. Tark, not here today. Still doesn't have his shit from his move. We're not sure what's going on at this point. So keep it dialed to our Twitter. You know, let's figure out where Tark's shit is. Let's figure it all out. Right? Hashtag where's Tark's shit. Do it now, chat. Chat's live with us. Hashtag where's Tark's shit. And hopefully he'll be back next week. Now, next week we were going to do Jeopardy, but we forgot Kronos. We forgot the damn live letter is tomorrow morning, our time. 6 in the morning East Coast time here. 6.1 live letter. So, yeah, next week we'll be reviewing the live letter in full. Normal show the following week. And then Ginger Prime himself will be here with us on the 24th. To play Final Fantasy Jeopardy and give Tark and Kronos a second and final opportunity to make the championship round. So lots of stuff. We got today's show, then the live letter, then another show, then Jeopardy. It's going to be a lot of fun. Joining me, just the two-man crew today, Mr. Adam Lane, a.k.a. Kronos. What's up?
Not much. Yeah, I also definitely forgot about the live letter for sure.
It was too close to the previous one, man.
Yeah, until you said that notes, I was like, oh yeah, that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, crazy.
6 a.m. It is less than 12 hours away. It's in fact 11 hours away from us right now. Huge 6.1, a reveal as teased in the previous live letter. Live letter 69. So let's just lock in some final thoughts on some of the key features. I don't want to, we've talked about most of the, bigger stuff before, but just lock in some thoughts, some concerns, some curiosities, or what you hope to see on some of the bigger things in live letter 69. Remembering, by the way, gang, that we've had the luxury of the last few being live translated. This one will not be. This will just be in Japanese, which means it'll probably be shorter. Maybe, because there's no translation. So we will have to rely on your favorite live fan translator or recap site. Of course, we'll have a recap up on mmobomb.com tomorrow morning for you if you want to check it out there as well. So let's just, in no particular order, Kronos, let's talk about some of the key features and what you're kind of looking for or hope to see. And I think we'll start with one of the bigger ones, right? The 24-person Alliance raid. It is the first Final Fantasy XIV 24-person Alliance raid that, I mean, Crystal Tower technically was, right? But it also was FF3 Crystal Tower themed. But then, like the things like Nier and stuff like that, they were collaborative, almost extracurricular story-wise. Now we've got the Myths 24-person, presumably about the 12 gods, and focusing something around that storyline and maybe fleshing out a few details. What do you want to see here?
What I want to see, they probably won't show, to be honest, because it's more like story stuff that I want to see. Because I'm actually, the more I think about this, right, I'm actually really interested in the story because I think it's going to
Same here, and they aren't going to cover shit story-wise.
No, we'll see, gear, maybe, some bosses. But, I'm actually, really interested, because I have a feeling it's going to tie really heavily into, the Asians and Vana and stuff. I really do. I think that's how the 12 is going to link back in. That's my personal, theory.
That the 12 gods were either Ascians or people who became Ascians going that far?
So I think like the prevailing theory that from people that I've talked to and seen is that the 12 is somehow going to be related to the people that like sacrifice themselves for Hydaelyn, because we don't really know a lot about them yet. Like kind of like Vanaz followers who aren't really Ascians, but we don't really like know what happened to them or who the hell they are. And then we kind of like only really have vague ideas of who the 12 are. Like we know their names. We know like kind of the stories of like where they come from, but they're all like, it's all like kind of myths and legends, which is, called Myths of the Realm. So that's kind of where my head's at. So I want to see what they do with it, because obviously we don't know exactly what the story is until they tell us what the story is. We can only really guess. But other than that, like things they might show, I'm interested to see like nods to other Final Fantasies. I always like those kind of things. Even though this is like its own story, I kind of want to see if they like pull stuff, even if it's like a boss from some other Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, and Flynn's right. I mean, I was more saying a unique 14 raid in recent times, not ever. So apologies for the misspeak. Void Ark is technically original for the story, but then we had Rabanastre, and then we had
Nier,
and so it's been a while. Yeah, I would love to see lore. I don't think we're going to
right.
though. I think we'll see Yoshi P's Black Mage, maybe tease an environment, maybe go so far as to tease a boss but not pull it type thing. But I am super interested in this one. I gotta say that I enjoy the 24-person raids. I don't do them an awful lot. That's why I ended up having to go farm the damn minions, because I just run them a couple of times and I'm done, because I never need the gear. You're in the same boat, right? Like you never need
just
that
off-job stuff. Yeah, it's like for like my 5th and like those jobs that like I play every now and then. Just typically what I do with it.
But so I never really get pumped for them. I want to see this because I'm very excited for this because of the same reasons. It's going to be new side story relating to something that's been there since version 1.
Right.
Since version 1.0. I mean, you picked your deity back in 1.0 too when you created your character. So it is something I definitely want to see. And yeah, I'm kind of with Flynn. I do want to see it be a little more difficult. I liked that the Ivalice raid series seemed to kind of go up a bit in difficulty when you compared it to its predecessors. Nier, I didn't think was as challenging.
No,
not to say that there weren't a challenging fight here and there. There certainly was. But overall, looking at the entire, like when you walked in and Famfrit, that was a tough fight.
Ifrit checked a lot of people. Yeah,
Ifrit checked a lot of people.
Like a lot of Math Boss. TG Sid. Yeah, I mean they nerfed TG Sid. I feel like I would like to see it too. I always like harder content. I do, even in like the Duty Finder type stuff. Even if it's just a little bit harder, I don't mind failing that much as like some other people do. I feel like they're not gonna do that though. I think Nier.
I agree, and I can't blame them. Yeah, I can't blame them. That's not what the content's for.
Yeah,
right?
I remember doing TG Sid like week 1. We wiped like so many times, and to me like that's fun. I don't mind it. It gets a little frustrating maybe when it's like week 6 and people are like fumbling around, even though you only have like 1 or 2 new people. And Famfrit did that actually. Famfrit, people just didn't seem to understand like you have to watch how he twirls it.
Yeah.
And they would just always get just yeeted by the water. And so
Ozma was kind of the same. Yeah. And I mean, I understand why it's a tier down. It's also a tier down in gear. I don't expect this to be like ball crushing difficulty. And I don't want it to be that, because I do appreciate, making things more approachable for many people. So I totally get it. But maybe like right in that Ivalice bucket?
It'd be cool.
Or do you think too many people were pissed?
I think you're gonna get pretty much the same as Nier, which I think Nier had some challenging stuff, but not to the point. You could drag people across the finish line in Nier.
Yeah.
You'll probably see more stuff like that where you can die and there's mechanics that are like somewhat like the third boss I think in Tower. A lot of people had trouble with that. But you could kill it even if like 2 alliances died. TG Sid, like if one alliance was down,
it's over. Wipe it. Yeah, wipe it and start it again.
You might see something similar to that. I feel like that's kind of where they're headed, where it's like even though if like 1 alliance goes down, the other 2 can still kind of carry for most of the bosses.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for this to become harder content. I'm talking about relative to the others, that was the difficulty that I liked. So let's go there. I know somebody's going to be all mad. Everything needs to be, no, it needs to be casual. I understand. This does need to be more on the casual side, and I'm fine with that. Let's see. No, okay, so we know this next one isn't technically coming until 6.2 from the last live letter. But do you think Island Sanctuary comes up in this presentation at all, or do they wait?
I think they wait. There's still a lot of stuff, particularly in the next couple of things that you have on here that haven't really been talked about yet. So I think the fact that this isn't in this patch, I don't think we're going to see too much of it. Probably not at all in this live letter if I had to bet on it. Maybe we do, but if I had to bet, you probably won't see something until either next live letter or the one after that, like for Island Sanctuary stuff.
So I think we see it in the live letter tomorrow, but it could be just as minimum as, yes, here's Island Sanctuary, but remember it's a 6.2 thing. I think there's enough interest in it that's true. Yeah. That they do want to at least just kind of like keep the carrot on a stick there, if that makes sense.
No, that does. Yeah.
And just kind of, maybe we don't see previews or anything like that. I don't expect to in any way, but a little nod to Island Sanctuary, look forward to it type thing. I think it gets mentioned because enough people keep asking.
Yeah, I could see that too. Just for me, like they're not going to spend any, even if they do that, it'll be like, it's just like, hey, it's still coming. It'll be like that kind of thing. Cause like,
it'll be a slide.
Yeah.
It'll be a slide with 6.2 features we've revealed so far. Criterion Dungeon, the first one. I don't know, brother. The more I sit there and think about it, I don't think I'm going to like these.
Sure. I'm sure.
I was like really optimistic when they first showed it and then said the scaling difficulty based on the number of players and stuff. But the more I think about it, the more I feel like this is going to fall into a casual side thing, which fine, cater to your audience. If 90% of your audience is casual, 9% of the remainder wants to have some more challenging content, and that 1% is the ultra savage ultimate raider, then fine, I get it. Cater to the 90. That's where your paycheck is. I just want to see them do more with dungeons. So even if we're not talking about difficulty, what I would really like to see out of these Criterion dungeons is just a dungeon that feels remarkably different.
Yeah.
Even if we're not going to go the difficulty route. Just don't be 3 trash pools boss, 3 trash pools boss, 3 trash pools boss. All the dungeons are beautiful to look at, right? They have wonderful bosses, wonderful mechanics, and they are fun. But literally, you could take any of the environments and any of the sequences of pools/bosses and just kind of drop them into each other. Like, that's how formulaic the dungeons are in Final Fantasy XIV for me. Like Tark is dead on here. I want to see things like mini jumping puzzles /platforming elements or optional routes, which we've experimented with in the past. It wasn't, you still had to defeat the bosses in a particular order, but, I would like to see some of that type of, WoW or other game type mentality when it comes to dungeons I remember running WoW dungeons where you didn't even have to kill every boss. If you didn't want to, you didn't have to. Or you could go in different orders. I just want to see a little more creativity out of the Criterion dungeon then. If I'm not going to get the difficulty spike that I want in smaller 1 through 4 person content, give me something different. Don't give me another Tamtara Deepcroft that I can go into solo without having to level sync, which is what I'm afraid we're going to get.
Yeah. When they said it was like scalable for like 1 to 4 was when I really started I was like, I don't know. Because really, it's just I just want the hard 4-person content. I don't need it to scale down to 1.
And this ain't people. It. This just ain't it.
And yeah, I'm just tempering my expectations for this. So I don't have very high hopes. I have a lot of the same things that you do, where I just feel like they're going to play it really safe because that's what they do, right? They play stuff really, really safe a lot of
you
times.
You can't blame them, but
no, you can't.
Eventually, you start to, look at WoW. Eventually, you start to lose your audience.
Yeah.
Now, WoW had other factors, not just playing it safe, but there was a play it safe mentality to a certain degree when you look at like Mists of Pandaria and the expansions right in there before things kind of got off the rails in my book.
Mm.
I don't know. We'll see.
I hope it's something more than what we think, but I think it's probably just gonna be like, I mean, you might get a couple of the things that you were saying, like maybe like one or like I don't know, like, but I actually really don't know like what they're gonna do. I don't think it's gonna be anything.
Here's the thing: like,
groundbreaking.
even if I don't like it, I want to walk away going, you know what? They tried something different.
Yeah.
You know, I would be happy, like, even if I was like, oh, God, they tried something different, and man, I am never doing that again. I just want to go, they tried something different. That would get the thumbs up from me right away.
Yeah, I feel that way in Savage fights sometimes, where it's like, and they're starting to be a little bit better about it. But for a while, man, everything was like, feels like, arena was the same. You know, you had like kind of like it was easier to solve if you were just experienced because everything kind of looked like as soon as you saw something, you're like, that's a stat. You know, like it's everything's so formulaic. Where it's like when you had something like Titan Savage, where it was like they actually like the arena moved, like you got lifted up, like stuff like that's cool. But the thing is, you have to draw that line in the Final Fantasy community because everybody doesn't like when you mess with like them not being able to hit the boss.
Right,
so
but
like,
you have.
It's just a hard line.
You can introduce those things without it making the content harder or unapproachable.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can play with the environment the way they did with Titan without having the necessarily the added difficulty that comes with a Savage fight.
Mm-hmm.
You can do stuff like that in dungeons and create challenge in ways that are more than just, extra hit points, more mechanics. Like, and I want to see them experiment with that stuff. The expansion of the trust system, which I do have here a little further down, but we might as well, while we're talking about dungeons, the expansion of the trust system is another thing, though, that makes me think we're not going down that path. We're not going down that path. Yeah. We're going down a very, let's make it solo friendly. Let's make the dungeon content interesting, but maybe nothing groundbreaking, and we can produce it on this new 4-month pace. Mm-hmm. And keep with that. I can't blame them. They're making bajillions of dollars hand over fist. I am one player in a sea of millions. I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm alone.
I'm alone. You're definitely not.
I'm gonna here. I'll just bring your camera up. This one's all yours. I'll end up doing it, but I won't do it on day one. I don't have the crew for that. Ultima's Bane. What do you want to see tomorrow?
Oh, you're talking about the Dragon Song War or the Unreal? Sorry.
I'm sorry. The Dragon Song War, the Ultimate.
I just want, even if it's just like a small, like, I don't know if you remember when they announced the Epic of Alexander, when it was like you saw Living Liquid come down like off, like Brute Justice was like flying on Cruise Chaser. Like, even if it's just that, I'm good. Like, that's all I need to see. Just tell me that it's real. Also, please confirm that it's level 90. They have not said that yet.
They've stayed away from that in everything so far.
And that worries me. So I just want them to confirm that it's a level 90 ultimate. That's like the biggest thing. Because if it's level 80, man, that sucks a little bit. No, it not a little bit. It sucks a lot.
That sucks a lot. That's not a little bit. That's a lot. Yeah. Flynn wants to see a Blue Mage deep dungeon. Well, you're going to see a deep dungeon later in 6.x, but it ain't going to be
the old stuff. It's like the people that are like, don't let Blue Mages in the ultimates. It's like, man, just let them in. I don't know. I just don't understand. But
anything else? I mean, we have the Crystalline Conflict, the new PvP system. That's kind of the other biggie one, which I honestly am still interested in. Yeah. And I think is going to be a huge, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a bulk of the show tomorrow.
It has to be, right? Yeah. Like, we don't know what the skills do.
Well, because they kind of have all of these different things tying into that, right? Not just, hey, there's new skills and this, because it's all role-based, right? Mm-hmm. Or it's not role-based, and you don't have to have a tank, a healer, and 2 DPS. It's smaller scale. It's a totally different format than they've ever taught. It's not deathmatch, right?
Right.
There's an actual objective that has to be played back and forth. Then on top of just that, then they're implementing the kind of season pass-ish mentality as far as the rewards go. Again, you're not going to have to pay for that. It's not that type of season pass. We use that term just to say it functions like a season pass, where you earn experience and currency and levels to unlock different rewards as you go. So they got that whole system on there. And then kind of they've been tacking this on there, the whole calling card system.
Yep.
You know, your basically think of it like player banner, player picture type stuff.
Like every multiplayer game does it now.
Yeah, where you have your little business cards. So like all of these games as a service, ironically, type functions are coming mostly in relationship to PvP, which, by the way, that PvP is entirely new. And I'll tell you what, for the first time, I'm actually interested to see what PvP in Final Fantasy XIV could look like. Doesn't mean I'm going to like it. Doesn't mean I'm going to be interested long, but I want more information on it. And I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of it tomorrow. I would go as far to say we probably get a demo.
I think so. Yeah, I think this is going to take up a huge chunk. Are you more interested because of the changes to the system or the mode itself?
Yes.
Both? Okay. Okay. Because for me, it's the system that more intrigues me. Because I hear, I've heard actually, a fair amount now, WoW players coming in, trying it. They're like, oh, my skills are different. I don't like that. And I'm like, well, there was a day where your skills were there, and it was bad. Yeah. And it's actually better now, how it is now, than it was back then. But... So I think they want something that they don't want, but I don't.
Well, see, the reason that's because it was kind of half-assed, right? When PvP was added, it was, and to this day, in my opinion, it's still just a checkbox that they're filling. If you really wanted to go PvP route, there would have to be huge, not just hey, let's fix or do PvP, but there's a reason games do. A PvP set and a PvE set of gear. There is a reason that stuff happens, and you may not like it, or it may be archaic in some, or poorly implemented in some systems. And I'm not saying Final Fantasy XIV would necessarily have to implement a PvP set, but there would have to be a consideration to gear, to abilities, and stuff like that just Final Fantasy has never had to do. Yeah. And then when they added PvP, they found out, oh, that's why those other games do that. Yeah. Let's make some changes.
Yeah, they had it back then, but it was like you said, it was pretty just tacked on kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see what they do with it. I'm more excited for the systematic change than the mode itself. The mode looks cool. I'm not saying the mode doesn't look cool, but I think the systematic change, it affects everything, all the PvP, because it's even going to affect Frontline too. Yeah. So it needs to be good, I think.
Which I don't care. I'm done with Frontlines. I got my 15,000 Wolfmark minions.
I still need the one horse, man. I need one horse.
There's only 2 minions trapped behind PvP that I don't have. They're both achievement related. I can't possibly get them, so I have to wait for them now to cycle into this Crystalline Conflict Battle Pass, which they said those achievement-based ones that are feast-based, they will cycle into that battle pass.
That'll be interesting to see what they cycle into, because I think some people, if they cycle in the feast seasonal rewards, might get mad, but I don't know. We'll see.
I think I don't. Well, they are eventually going to cycle in the seasonal rewards, right? They said that they were going to do that, but probably not right away. The ones they have to implement in some way right away are the ones the two. You know, what is it? 300.
Yeah, there's also the mount too. The little mini airship, because I have that. They'll have to probably figure out what to do with that.
It's 300 assists and 1,000 kills, or the other way around. I forget what they are for the 2 minions off the top of my head.
I think it's the other way around.
The feast isn't going to be a thing. Yeah. When 6.1 launches, we're in preseason right now for a season that will never happen. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll get them on the flip side there. We've kind of alluded to this. Anything else about the live letter you're looking forward to? Or that you want to see?
I mean, I guess stuff that we already know, right? Like the Ultima, Unreal. He'll probably show that. The 6.1 trial, which will be the end singer, right? It'll be the extreme. We'll get the extreme for that. They'll probably show that. Yeah. That's about it. Just, normal stuff.
I'm trying to look here. 300 KOs in the feast.
And 1,000 assists, I think.
It's probably 300 assists as well.
I have both of them. I don't remember what they are.
Yeah. I thought it was 300 and 1,000.
Yeah, I played a lot of Feast, so I has those.
No, thank you.
The titles, though, I wonder if those will be gone, but that's a whole other thing. Yeah,
I don't think so, because they said that you don't worry about losing that stuff. We will give you the ability to get those rewards. Again, although I would hate if they did it with minions, but with these 2 minions. But I am kind of a fan, and I know we're getting a little sidetracked here, but I am kind of a fan of games that own or MMOs that do only have certain things available at certain times. Don't get me wrong here. I hate fear of missing out and games like capitalizing on that, right? Destiny 2 still does that to a certain extent. It's a lot better than it was 2.5, 3 years ago when it was really bad, when they first went free to play, and they kind of like make sure you get it now, and the things, Anyway, so I'm not a fan of that, but I do kind of like when, hey, Kronos, this mount that has been available for the last 8 years, it's not going to be available anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
What I kind of like stuff like that, where you have, a title or a mount or a minion or whatever. Like, there's something cool about having the veteran Gubu mount, right? There's something cool about having, and that's a very unique niche one. But, having things that, hey, that was in the game for 3 years. It's not in there anymore. Oh, that's a shame. That's cool. I like that, where a lot of people hate that stuff.
I don't mind.
They hate anything that has any, you can't get that anymore attached to it.
People feel like they should be able to get whatever they want, and I disagree with that. I mean, I just do. I think Final Fantasy has enough stuff that you can do whatever the hell you want to do. And I promise you that stuff will keep you busy for a very, very long time. The PvP stuff's the only thing I can think of that they've done that with, though, other than, I guess, seasonal stuff. But those eventually go on the MOG station.
Yeah, they eventually go onto the MOG station. So, nothing ever truly leaves 14.
I really like some of the PvP mounts, but I did not get them all. So, I mean, sometimes I just didn't play Feast for several seasons. I only played for, maybe 3 seasons semi-seriously. Right. And every time I see the armor is cool. The thing is, there just wasn't enough rewards for it to be popular, so that's why people are still bitching about it. But
Baron, then people complain they can't get the mount. It magically shows up in the store.
Yeah.
I'd settle for. Oh, that's a good point, newest girl, and welcome. I'd settle for a Battle Pass reskin of the PvP mounts,
like a different.
That way, you still get the mount, but you could tell. Kronos got that back.
I just put the Dreadnought mount. That mount's cool. I mean, they have a lot of other cool ones, but the funny thing is that's what they did too for several seasons. It's I think you only really have 4 different PvP mounts or 5.
Yeah, it was just the skins.
And they just recolored them. So.
All right, so we've kind of talked about dungeons and stuff in other games. So I figure, Kronos, what we'll do, and chat, you can get in on this too. And obviously, if you're watching on YouTube or ReadyCheckRadio.com, you can get in on this in the comments below. Maybe we'll review some of them next week when we reconvene and talk about the live letter. I want to talk about features in other MMOs or other games that Final Fantasy XIV should steal. Or maybe just adapt a little differently. This is a really good idea, but we got to change it a little bit. Because I've played a lot of MMOs. I've hosted many shows on MMOs over the last 12 years on these old internets here. And, there are games that are the king of, everybody likes that feature over there, let's take it and put it in ours. So I want to talk about some that maybe we should get. Now, we got to set some ground rules here, Kronos. Some ground rules here. We are not taking tech, server, old architecture limitations, none of that stuff into account. So, yes, some of these things with the current inventory system, for example, are impossible to implement with the current inventory system. We are pretending that none of that exists. There are no limitations on this one. So, I've got a few. Kronos, you have a few. And then I did some scouring over the old interwebs there and found a few other ones that maybe I didn't think of, but I was like, let's see what Kronos and chat and everybody thinks. So I'm going to go first. One, I'll give you one, then you go one, then we'll go with one from everybody else. We need to be able to craft from our retainers inventory, a la Guild Wars 2. Again, I know the current inventory system just doesn't allow it.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to craft directly from my saddlebag and my retainers. Anywhere I'm storing items, if I have crafting materials there, let me use them right where I'm at. Guild Wars 2, that it feels so good when you're just like, oh, that's in my bag. Oh, yeah, I'm in Guild Wars. Yeah. Whew. A separate bag for materials themselves would be nice, says Newest Girl. Yeah, kind of like ESO does. Yeah, ESO has the craft bag. Granted, I don't particularly... I mean, I love ESO and I do sub to ESO, but I don't like that they have it hidden behind the sub. So yeah, that's one. Crafting right from my retainers or anywhere I have inventory. Yes, no? You with me on this one, Kronos?
No, I think that's perfectly fine. Like you said, it's just really a limitation thing, I think, more so than anything,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
it
no
would
doubt,
be a
yeah.
nice change. I hate when I try to like open my saddlebag in certain areas and I just can't.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying, but
All right, you go with one.
I mean, the chat already said mine, and actually you had your mine on here. Like I think I've said this like 30 times. The WoW Transvog system, while I really like glamour in this game and like, you know, like the aesthetic and how you can kind of put stuff here, there, and I'll even go a step further too. I think they need to remove class restriction on a lot of gear too, because that kind of becomes annoying. But literally, if I have had it at some point in the game, I want to just be able to, you know, use it as glamour. I hate that like we have this whole glamour dresser. It's better than it used to be. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like back in the day when you had to have like the specific glamour prism for like the certain type of gear, that was awful. And what we have now is way better than that. But WoW's system is just so much better than what we have as far as just like how it works.
Yeah, so in my list of things, I had this too. I said transmog from WoW or even the wardrobe system that's in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
Baron Vagabond in chat says WoW's glamour system. Period. Period. That's it.
That's my number one, like by far. It's just the fact that like if I have something and I throw it away, I still have it, you know? Like,
so the downside there is then so let's talk this through a little bit though. I totally agree with you, and we've said that many times on this show. I'm not surprised that it came up on all of our lists.
Yeah.
But then doesn't that hurt the crafting economy?
I mean, you could still like roll for gear
what
if you
if
want, like decent
what if
stuff.
they
Oh, you mean like crafted gear that people buy
crafted
one
gear?
time?
Yeah. What if they made it just drop gear? You know, had whatever.
So I would say no, just because most people only buy it one time anyways. You know, like after I bought it once, if I like the piece, I mean, maybe I throw it away because I have my glamour dressers full and I buy it one more time. But like if I paid like, you know, more than 100, 200K for a piece that I like, probably going to stick it in my glamour dresser or retainer, save it for a rainy. Dude, I have so much stuff in my retainer because I'm like, maybe I'll use that one day. And I have not used it in 10 years.
Yeah, you and all of us.
So like, yeah, like I'm like, I have that one paladin weapon that I might not want to go get. And I don't even know why I keep it because I have the ultimate paladin weapons and that's all I glamour to my paladin. So it's like,
right.
But like, I'm afraid to throw it away because like, what if I want it? What if there's a glamour that comes out? I really like that sword, but it's like, I just want to be able to throw it away and not think about it, not take up. I feel like if they could figure out a way to do it, it would save a lot of space.
90% of all of ours relate to inventory in some way.
Because Final Fantasy's inventory is probably one of the biggest problems.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
So this is just randomly on the internet, Reddit, other sites, the forums, stuff like that. Rift's mentoring system. So instead of level sync system, if you're not familiar with Rift and the mentoring system, you actually can drop your level to wherever you want within like a right click and 2 other clicks. And then everything scales down with you, but you keep all of your abilities. So you don't like nerf yourself down into a 2-button rotation because your queue popped and you have a level 18 dungeon or something like that. Rift's system, you scale yourself down based on the whatever level you want to be, and then go roll with your friends at that level in the open world, in a dungeon, like whatever the hell you want to do. And I actually really did like that system in Rift. I would love to see it here. We've kind of talked about that before, where I in conjunction with one that chat is mentioning quite a few times here, Mythic Plus, a Mythic Plus type system from WoW. in Final Fantasy. And we've all kind of said, particularly me who has the most experience out of the panel with Mythic Plus, I don't want the exact Mythic Plus system, but I do want that type of scalable difficulty when it comes to the dungeons.
Yep.
And increasing challenge, but not just more hit points, more damage, also different mechanics, modifiers, stuff like that. Again, spices those dungeons up. This mentoring system, I also am in favor of going the other way. Newest Girl says, the Unreals really should rotate out weekly instead of the old fights going away.
I would rather just not go away, but I understand why they do it. They do it because, like, when the next expansion comes out, they're gonna have to, like, scale it up again, you know, like, so it's like
that's not really stealing from another MMO. Newest.
Yeah, no, I mean, but like I get that. I hated when they first announced it. I was like, man, why are they even, like, they don't do that with any other content. It's like, why are you taking it? I wish they would use Unreals more to scale up other Savage fights, but that's like for a smaller audience. So
next one of mine, and this is from multiple MMOs, so no MMO in particular. Crafting orders on the auction house / market board. And I would add to this as well the ability to buy portions of stacks. So if I need 11 and everybody's thrown up 99, I don't get forced into buying 99 of said item. But I love crafting orders where it's, you know, you just go and put up, I need 200 of these. And then people that are crafting or gathering come through, look at the who's ordering what, and here's how much I'm willing to pay. And you know what? Okay, yeah, I'm willing to sell it to you for that and just fulfill the order and it goes to my inventory. I love those types of systems where not only is it convenient, right, but it's also a great way for your crafting economy to kind of just be like, I'm going to log in and let's see who's looking for what today. All right, I can make a little scratch there. Versus going to the market board, putting it up for the price you want for, and then sitting back and hoping it sells. So I've seen other MMOs do this, particularly on the gathering front. This works the best. This is a very cool thing. I need 99 oak logs, you know? Okay, and I'm willing to pay 7 gil a piece for a total price of whatever, 800 gil. Who's willing to fulfill that order? So I would really like to see that type of thing, crafting orders and being able to buy portions of stacks. I never understood inventory. I know that's why. I know that's why the inventory system and the market board system. But remember, 1.0 market board was an absolutely unmitigated disaster.
I don't know anything about it, actually.
Oh my God, we could spend an entire show on how bad the market board was. Initially, it wasn't even a thing, and then when it was bad. But, and I wonder how much of that is left over, because it's always kind of boggled my mind a little bit why, if I'm going to sell a stack of something, I have to price per unit it when I'm listing it, but you can't buy it per unit. You know, why, if I put up 20, why can't I just put, I want 2,000 gil for this? Like, why do I have to put in, I want 18 gil per unit at 20 units for this to be the price? I always thought that was a little weird.
Yeah, I guess I'm so used to it that I don't really think about another way to do it. I like what you said about, like, being able to look at the board and seeing what people want. I think that would be really cool.
It would also tell you what you need to spend time farming. You know,
Yeah.
if the whole point of you being a gatherer, right, is, let's say that is your gil. You know, that's how you are making money.
I feel bad for you if that's the case. But
yeah, right. Well, but let's say that is how you make a little extra scratch.
Yeah.
And you find this one item in game that has a decent return, and so you know, maybe you spend an hour a day farming that just so you could throw a few on the market board and make a little scratch. Wouldn't it be better if you could see exactly what players were looking for?
I would love it just because people can't fucking undercut me.
That too.
Like,
that too. So the requester has to either lower their price or the order doesn't get filled. It's all on the requester of the item at that point.
Yeah, because the most infuriating thing is I've been doing a lot of, like, Ishgard stuff because I'm still trying to get them out. But, like, putting something up and then going to sleep or whatever, and I wake up and, like, everyone's undercut me. Yeah. And I'm just like, well, none of my stuff's sold. And then sometimes I get frustrated. I'm just like, I'm vendoring it. I don't care. Like, if it gets to, like, below a certain threshold, obviously some items, if they're worth like a few $100K, I'll keep, like, playing the market board game. But
yeah, Tark saying EverQuest market board was the worst. Your character was the merchant. You had to stay online to sell it. That actually happened in Final Fantasy XI, too. Final Fantasy XI had a full auction house. They were separated by city, the 3 city-states and 1 in Juneau. So, like, you could go to Juneau's, check the price on something, and then go to Sandoria and check the price on something there, which I liked at the time, but it's one of those convenience things now that, you know, it was immersive at the time.
I already think the taxing of the different city states in 14 is already needs to go. It's just pointless. Most people don't even look at it.
But in 11, you could bazaar too. You could put things in a bag and leave your character online, just standing there, and people could check your bazaar and buy it right from you instead of the auction house. So it was kind of merged. You had your own store, which was basically just you standing there. You'd leave Juneau. And for the first, like, 50 yards of the path out of Juneau in any direction was just 50 or to 100, 200 people just standing there with bag icons above their heads.
That's pretty funny.
What's another one you've got?
So this one might be a bit, like, decisive, I guess. I'm not really sure if this is, like, the right answer or not. But so I think substats right now are pretty boring. I don't think they really do enough to, like, really seem exciting at all. Everybody just goes and looks up their BIS. And they meld whatever's good, typically crit. So like when I see like, and I don't think it should be exactly this, but I'd like to see something similar. And it would also maybe give you a reason to do some older content too. But like maybe some kind of like trinket thing, kind of like WoW, but not to that extent, to the point where like they're that powerful. Like, but just some kind of unique thing that makes your character feel a little different. Maybe they don't ever become bad, right? Like if I go get a trinket from, I don't know, some level 50 dungeon that has something that maybe affects my jump as Dragoon or something. That's good through level 90. And of course, there's going to be like a best one, no matter how you do it. People are just going to do the math and figure it out. But like, it would give you some uniqueness, I feel. Make you feel a little different. I don't know. Like, there's got to be something better than substats. Because right now, substats are just like meld and forget. And like, the other thing too is just like, having to meld differently for different classes is really frustrating. So I hope they kind of address that too. So maybe this is kind of like a 2-in-1, but I just, like maybe something similar to trinkets in WoW, where you just get like some kind of special thing.
Yeah, or how they did glyphs back in the day, where those weren't stat modifiers, but they were effect modifiers that you could kind of customize on your character, maybe increase the speed when you use this ability or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tarkoth kind of talking around the same thing, except looking at it on stats, specific bonuses, job-specific bonuses or enchantments on gear, or more variety in gear stats, minor 2-piece set bonuses, stuff like that. This one is a mixed bag.
Yeah, because I don't want it exactly how it is, because I think exactly how it is in WoW is bad.
Yeah.
But I want something similar, and like even like Newest Girl saying like she plays Warrior with suboptimal stats. Like I get that, because most people will just go for the set that like, okay, this is the generic tank set that works across all of you. Lose the least amount of damage on Warrior. But like I played Warrior this whole tier, and I played Paladin this week in Raid, and I had to remeld every piece of gear. Because I was a Warrior main, like that's all I was playing was Warrior, and so I went back and I remelded crit direct hit instead of, the debt tenacity stuff I was melding, mostly crit, but like the other melds were like debt and tenacity. So it's like I don't want to have to do that, but you do, and it sucks, but that's what it is.
Well, the thing that I don't like about it is there is a melding tenacity.
It's actually tenacity is more beneficial than direct hit on Warrior right now.
There's something to be said though that like, I mean, all black mages are the same, right? If we all had the same desire as far as what we wanted to accomplish PvE, and we all had the same skill level, right? And we all farmed at the same rate, there would be no difference in us. Like that is one thing that I do feel is kind of missing from 14 is the uniqueness of your character, the uniqueness of your build, because there really isn't that. The glamour is what makes your character look unique.
Pretty much.
Abilities and your talent and knowledge of the fight you're doing. All things being equal, all the warriors are the same, all the black mages are the same, all the white mages are the same. They have virtually the same stats, the same rotations, the same this, the same that. There is no, I don't know. But maybe that's just me wanting to be a special snowflake.
Yeah, well, I think just like as a counter thing to that too, it's like I think the way they design it is they want you to play these other jobs, so they want it to be kind of like
Right.
that, so that they're like set in the way they are, so that when you switch and switch back, you don't really feel like you're learning, like you have to like relearn it because you switched one trinket out, which I get.
Or have to do 900 different things because you've switched classes.
Yeah, that would be
now
bad.
you gotta go respec this and do that and regem this and yeah. Some randomly on the internet. Guild Wars 2 banking items directly from your inventory no matter where you are. Yeah, that's a pretty slick feature. That's a pretty slick feature. Right click, send to bank. I do like that. One I have here now, obviously, okay, like, bear with me. I know that this would have to come with a huge change to combat, a huge change to the game, and elements would need to like be worked back into the game where they were actually worked out of the game when 2.0 launched. So this is a huge, I know there are a ton of reasons this will never, ever happen, but I miss skill chains and magic bursts from Final Fantasy XI. I love that type of stuff.
I'll pretend I know what it is.
So, like a magic burst would be if you're in your party of 6 and you're camped and you're farming mobs, right? If you fired off different abilities and or spells by the different classes in a certain order, you could get a bonus effect at the end of it.
So it's like an elemental reaction in Genshin Impact, kind of like that. Like where you
kind of, except it relies on the party. Not I can't do it myself.
I got you.
So if I'm a black mage and I see you throw up this ability, I see the ninja throw up this ability right after it. If I know the proper skill chain there, I throw fire at the end of that, and we get a magic burst that deals a bunch of extra damage. Skill chains were kind of like the physical melee or ranged physical version of the same thing, where certain abilities used in certain... And there was a huge tree that you could go and look at all the different ones, kind of combo-y-ish attacks.
But you're comboing with your party members, right?
You're comboing with your party members, not yourself. Yeah, Final Fantasy XIV, I mean, everything's rotational based, and so you would just see these things firing every 2 seconds. So I know a lot would have to change, and then elements would have to come back into it, because that was the point of magic bursts, was being elemental affinities. I just miss them. And so I'd like to see them, even though it's impossible. There. I got my Final Fantasy XI in, whether you like it or not. You got another one?
I don't know if this is like specific to a game. I don't know, because I haven't played like a ton of MMOs, but I'd like to be able to market board, or at least like look at it wherever the hell I am. Like, I want to be able to right click on an item, right? And then just be like, show me this on the market board on the server that I'm on. And
so Guild Wars 2 does that, don't they?
Do they?
Somebody refresh my memory. I know you can open the Black Lion shop from anywhere. And I'm pretty sure you can just search right in the Black Lion shop for whatever people are selling.
I'm totally fine, like, not being able to sell it.
Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember if that's still right off the top of my head.
But
I do have End of Dragons, but I had to get the Babylon's Fall first look done, so I haven't played End of Dragons yet.
Yeah, I just feel like that should be fairly simple. Like, I should be able to, like, if I just gathered an apple or something, I should be able to right click the apple and be like, okay, how much does this apple sell for before I spike it on the ground? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it'd be nice to be able to see that. And if they could make it cross world, that would be even better. But I feel like that's asking for too much. So it'd be nice. I feel like the market board and inventory is a big thing they could fix.
Obviously, mod support comes up in this type of discussion no matter where you have it.
Yeah.
Not going to happen, but let us know what you want to see stolen from other MMO. I mean, borrowed. I mean, implemented. I mean, adapted. I mean, built in a creative way in Final Fantasy XIV. Before we finish up here with some other Square Enix news, do you know Gabe Newell is now playing Final Fantasy XIV?
I saw the stuff.
Valve, Gabe Newell. Says he got a little burnt out on WoW and says one of my sons got into Final Fantasy. This is talking to IGN. I sort of got burned out on World of Warcraft. got to the point where they'd introduce a new level cap, and I'd be like, and I'd start playing for about 10 minutes, and my brain would melt down, so I haven't played MMOs in a while. But one of my sons was into Final Fantasy. He was mad at the people he'd go raiding with, so he was like, okay, I need a minion. Dad, come be my minion. Be my healer who doesn't let me die when I'm tanking. So I started playing with him, and I've been playing a ton of it on the deck. Of course, talking about the Steam Deck, which he then delivered some to the very initial people that happened to, be by the Valve office and placed orders there. He delivered them in person and revealed that he is a white mage. So he is a white mage main. Gabe Newell playing 14.
Him and like 50% of the other Final Fantasy XIV players.
Right.
It's like by far the most popular class, I feel like. But
in Japan, cool. Yahoo Games, Yahoo Japan, posted a survey where they wanted to know everybody's favorite mainline Final Fantasy title. Did you click this link yet? I hope you didn't.
I did.
You did?
I
okay.
did. Yeah.
All right, so chat, which one, 1 through 15, 1? Give me that one. It is only 1 through 15. They are pure mainline titles. 13 is just in there as Final Fantasy 13, so you don't have to get specific with which 13 if you, for some reason, think that one won. Yeah. They picked up over 28,000 votes in their couple of days there. It was like from the 18th through the 28th or something like that. So it ran for about 10 days. Newest Girl says 10. 14 does make the list. Were you surprised at where?
No.
The top 10?
I think I was pretty confident that it was going to fall the way it fell. Maybe I'm surprised that 14's not like 1 spot or 2 spots higher.
14 came in 6th.
I think it would be more popular. If you did this here in America or North America, I think 14 would jump a lot of these games. But I think in Japan, I think so. I think 14 is getting to be like, it's up there for me, man. Like, it's right below. Like, I'm a big Final Fantasy VII fan, and I feel like 14 is getting real close to passing it.
Really?
I've just been playing it for so long. Like, it's like 10 years of my life,
I don't know.
And the story is really good, but they have an unfair advantage, right? Like, it's an MMO, and they get to tell a story in a different way. So it's like a lot of times I try to discount it when I talk about things like this, but it is a mainline series. So it's like,
yeah. And they want it to be more solo friendly specifically for that reason.
Yeah.
Number 10 was Final Fantasy III. Number 9 was Final Fantasy XI. 8 was number 8. 8th. Number 8. 7 was Final Fantasy IX. 6, as we mentioned, was Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy IV coming in at 5th. In 4th, it was 5. So, little switcheroo there. And the top 3 Final Fantasy mainline series. 3rd place was Final Fantasy X, Tidus and Friends. 2nd place, Final Fantasy VI. And 1st place, Final Fantasy VII. No surprises there. At least I didn't think so.
No, yeah.
At least I didn't think so.
I feel like those are typically like, to be honest, this list looks probably a lot like what mine would look like. I have a few things reordered, but
I've got another awesome controller for you from Super Louis 64. Please go check out his YouTube channel. It's amazing. We've covered his controllers here when they go Final Fantasy XIV. This is the latest one, is using a Nerf bow and arrow to play as the archer / bard. So actually having to fire your shot. And let's just say he relied on heavy shot a bit. He relied
rotation.
Yeah, he relied on heavy shot a bit. And maybe this wasn't entirely well thought out here because he did not take into account having to go and get the arrows to reload. If you've never seen Super Louis 64, the link, I will put it in the YouTube description and on Ready Check Radio's description so that you can go check this out. We covered a number of him when he did the Yu-Gi-Oh card draw wrist thing to play Astrologian. We covered him on Snowbound before the Blizzard show went on hiatus because Blizzard's, part of Activision's fuck-allery. And he did Ring Fit to play Overwatch on a trampoline. I mean, just some tremendous stuff. This is, he did say, like, did you watch this, Kronos? And he's like, yeah, I really don't want to show you this close up because 90% of it is black electrical tape because it's the only way I could keep this bow and arrow from breaking.
Yeah, this actually came up on my feed, like, I think a few weeks back when he uploaded it, and I watched it then. Yeah, like, I mean, it's really cool what he does, but man, when I think about playing the game with these peripherals, it just sounds so bad. Yeah. But, like, the idea of them is really cool.
The immersion is fantastic. So another great controller. Go check out his video on how he made it. They're great. They're well edited too. His editor does a really nice job. You'll sometimes see comments come in from the editor on them. So definitely check them out. What else do we got here? Some other Square Enix news. Yeah, Babylon's Fall is I mean, it's available. Right? I mean, that's good, right? It's available. Sure, yeah. So this is Square Enix's next foray with Platinum Games into the games as a service model in a hacking, slashing, looter game a la Destiny 2, a la Warframe. I put up the first look video literally 20 minutes before I did this show. So if you head on over to mmobomb.com, which I would much appreciate, that's the one that pays the bills, not this little side giggy here that we just have some fun with. The first look video is up. Did that, finished it over the course of the last 4 days, so you can check out full details. But I wanted, and Kronos, I wanted to like this. I like looter games. This isn't a looter shooter. It's a grabber stabber, as Jason Winter would say. And I don't mind live service games. I know, the ones that are bad, I just don't play, and I certainly don't buy anything. And full disclosure, I was given a key by Square Enix, one of their digital collector sets or whatever it was. They had 2 bundles. They gave me the higher costed of the 2. It's available for PS4, PS5, and Steam. I played on Steam. Platinum Games is so good. So good, Kronos. Bayonetta, Nier Automata, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, they even did the Ninja Turtles game, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so good. And so I wanted to hold out hope, but we saw what happened with Marvel Avengers. And they just did it again. Like, you'd be forgiven if you didn't even know this was a thing because there was no marketing behind it. And they went with this oil painting aesthetic. And they had to back off of that a little bit because in beta it was ridiculous. And it still has it, but it makes the game look dated. Like, it's a great idea. Mm-hmm. It's a very artistic, it'll be very unique looking. And it is. But it also then makes it look like a PS3 game. And you can tell that they borrowed a lot from their Nier experience. You can see some of it in the trailer with the orbs and stuff. Their duels and stuff are going to be very Final Fantasy, like, Ultimate oriented, where it's highly coordinated, AoEs and stuff like that. So, like, everything I'm saying makes this go, man, this should be great, right? It's just incomplete.
Yeah.
It's just incomplete. And maybe it'll get complete, but I don't know if Square's going to give them the time. They're going to get all kinds of stuff over the next month, including a Nier crossover, where you can... Let me pull it up here for you. There you go. A Nier crossover, some new modes, a new weapon. How cool does this sound? You have a light weapon in one hand, a heavy weapon in the other, and then you got this thing on your back that you can equip 2 more weapons to, that at the pull of triggers, those things go and do their fighting no matter what your status is. You could have just gotten knocked on your ass, and these 2 swords, if that's what you equip, will go fight and bang things up until you get up and start fighting. And you combo with yourself, and it's flashy, and it's boring.
Yeah.
It's boring.
I was really excited for this game until I saw it and then played it. Like, saw the gameplay, I mean. Like, I don't know. It's everything about it wanted me to like it. I really like Platinum games, too.
Here's the thing. I will say this. I don't love it, but I'm not in I hate it territory.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying I hate it.
I have a lot of gripes.
Yeah.
Go watch the first look for a more full, like, mini review. It's a first look video, but I do, in this one, give quite a few opinions. I think it can be better. And I think Platinum wants to take it there. I think it just released too early. It's not ready.
Yep.
You'll spend the first 15 hours just walking, doing the straight storyline. One quest to one quest to one quest. Go to the main hub, queue for the next one. Go to the main hub, and that's the first 10 or 15 hours. Oh, and then, by the way, you finally open crafting. Like, everything's very delayed, and it's not engaging or super interesting for that first 15 hours to make you want to stay. And the art style does make it look dated. And they did borrow assets from Final Fantasy XIV. I mean, that was confirmed by Yoshi P and Square Enix. The armor and emotes, some of them are borrowed from Final Fantasy XIV. Like, you can, people noticed in beta, that's why they came out publicly and said something. So you can already see that costs were cut. I don't know. I do enjoy certain parts of it. I will keep playing it for a little bit here, too. There's more I want to check out. It's not like, oh, my God, I can't take this. But it's nowhere near. And this will be strike 2 for Square Enix when it comes to games as a live service, something they want to get a lot more into. Oh, and then, by the way, they want to do NFTs and blockchain, too. I mean, it's not a great record for games as a service when you go 0-2, and one of those 0-2s was with the Marvel IP.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
If things couldn't get worse, the Dungeon Siege IP. I love that IP. I love that IP. Square Enix went ahead and licensed that out to the Sandbox, which is a metaverse voxel game. The Sandbox, a leading decentralized gaming virtual world and a subsidiary of Animoca Brands, announced today that it has partnered with Square Enix to bring the legendary RPG IP Dungeon Siege to the Sandbox gaming metaverse. The collaboration comprises 2 complementary parts. The first will deliver a Dungeon Siege land on Square Enix's estate with interactive RPG experiences players can enjoy while learning best practices for constructing Dungeon Siege adventures. The second will make Dungeon Siege voxel characters and items available for players and creators to incorporate into their unique experience using the Sandbox's free Vox Edit and Game Maker no-code creation tools. You can buy land along with NFTs of voxel assets in this game. So really doing those IPs right. I'm so sad lately.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. I just try to laugh to make myself feel better. It's okay.
If you needed some more sad news, there is a rumor that Forspoken is being delayed.
This doesn't surprise me. Does it surprise you? Because I feel like it might be true.
Nope, doesn't surprise me at all. Doesn't surprise me at all. Was supposed to be May of this year, May 24th. Coming from NGT, account NGT on Twitter, according to a source, Forspoken is delayed. It could be officially announced at that PlayStation event. PlayStation has an event coming up at the end of this month that they will expect Forspoken to be delayed. And I am not surprised at all. But Triangle Strategy comes out tomorrow. Yay! Yeah. Yay!
I gotta finish Elden Ring, man.
The reviews are kind of mixed right now on Triangle Strategy. Like, a lot of them say it doesn't give the player enough credit.
I feel like, or correct me if I'm wrong, when Octopath came out, it was a bit mixed, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not, like, surprised, I guess. Like, I feel like I really liked Octopath for what it was. I have some issues with the game, but, you know.
Let's go and do Love It or Leave It. For those of you new here, welcome. Click like, click subscribe, click follow on all those socials, and head on over to ReadyCheckRadio.com. But this is how we end every episode of the Relic Grind, the Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast with Love It or Leave It. I give you something Square Enix related. Could be a game, a feature in a game, a press release. Hell, anything I want because it's my show. And you tell me whether you love it, want more of it, or leave it. You never want to see it again. We do not allow you to play middle ground here. There is no middle ground. Kronos, this is going to be easy for you, and I don't think it's going to be easy for me. Because the Love It or Leave It topic today is Babylon's Fall. I'm going to let you go first because I know yours.
Even Switzerland got off that fence, Mike. You got to get off the fence, all right? No, it's easy for me. I'm leaving it. I wanted to like this game. I really did. I love Nier Automata. I was really excited for the next Platinum Games game. I tried to play it, man. I did. I've watched it. I've followed it. It just looks off to me. It plays really clunky. When I did, got my hands on it, I don't think they spent. I think they need more time. I think you're right. I think also the fact that it's like kind of not a lot of people are feeling it, and it's coming out at a bad time. I feel like for like if you're a big video game fan, you have other things you want to buy. This is not a good time to release a mediocre title.
Yeah, I mentioned that like literally in the first 2 minutes of the first look. I was like, this game has flaws, and I don't think it's done. And its release window certainly doesn't help it.
It does not at all, at all. So yeah, for me, it's to leave it. Sadly.
So I think if you had to like make me make a decision right now, I've got to uninstall this or keep playing it. I want to keep playing it. I'm not done with it yet. I'm not done with it yet. So I'll at least preface with that much. I'm not done with it yet. But if I had to pick one or the other, I got to leave it. There's just too many other great games that I can play. There's no reason to settle for it. The way I summed it up in the first look video is if this was free to play, I would tell you go download it and check it out right now. It's got a battle pass in it. It's got, the cosmetic cash shop in it and cosmetics that you can buy with in-game currency. So it's got all the trappings of free to play because I think they know that's where it's going to go. But right now, it's a $60 frickin' title. I would not have bought it based on the demo. And there is still a demo up on the PlayStation if you want to check it out. You can demo it and move all that progress over. You can't play a demo on the PC, but you can on the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. So if you're curious, check out the demo, which probably isn't doing the game any favors anyway. Today, there were 600 people playing it on Steam. Today is technically the launch day.
That feels bad.
Early access started 3 days ago if you had the higher of the two costed bundles. Again, full disclosure, Square Enix supplied me with that code for first look purposes and the Relic Grind purposes. They specifically knew this is where I was going to talk about it. And yeah, that was 600 to 700 people on Steam today. Yeah, that's not good on launch day. And yeah, it's primarily a console game, but 600 people on Steam for a Square Enix title on launch day, that ain't good. I'd have to leave it if you made me do it right now. But I am still interested in a few things. Sometimes it is fun to just walk around and bash things with friends, and this game does that very well. There's just other things that just make it feel not so... When you queue, you cannot do anything.
So...
When you queue for a mission, you can either queue and go instantly solo. God, poor Faye. You can instantly go solo, or you can sit there and wait until it finds a second, a third, or a fourth. And the missions scale whether you have 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the party. It doesn't fill it with bots or anything. This is made to be 100% multiplayer. That's why I was able to cover it on MMO Bomb. But the second you queue, you can't do anything. You can walk around the hub area still and run around, but you can't talk to an NPC. You can't do anything at the crafting table. You can't interact with any of that stuff anymore. You can just sit. You can't even change your gear. You're done. As soon as you queue, your gear is locked. You are stuck with that gear. And you don't know if you're about to be thrown in solo or if you happen to queue and some people are going to join that party and go with you. You don't know. Yeah. What's even worse is there's a timer on the queue, but it isn't displayed. So if you queue solo and then 10 seconds later, Faye pops into my party. But neither one of us ready up because maybe we want to see if a third and a fourth will come with us. At some point, it will force us to go in. It won't let us know, hey, we're about to queue you into the instance. Are you ready to go, or do you want to leave the queue? No. Just all of a sudden, boom, 5, 4, 3, 2, and it sends you away. But as soon as you queue, you can't do anything. You cannot do a thing. So, yeah. I mean, go watch the first look because there are a ton of oddball things that I don't understand design-wise why they're in there like that.
Why they're in there. Yeah. I think this game, I don't think it's like very, I don't think it's very good. Just from like,
I don't think it's long. I don't think it's long for this world, and it's sad. I think Platinum needed more time, and Square wasn't going to give it to them.
I think also releasing like literally within a week of Elden Ring is a big mistake.
It was dumb. Yeah, it was dumb.
Because this game, while it's not the same thing, you can like draw some similarities. You know. Yeah,
there is like perfect dodge and counter type stuff. Yeah.
You know, you're not going to get those people from Elden Ring. You're just not. And yeah, I think they also just picked. I think they picked a bad window, and the game's not done.
It definitely isn't. The game tells you, hey, from this point forward, things might have elemental affinities, and they'll be weaker to this element or stronger against this element, and you might too. Okay, cool. So when you mouse over the mission, or when you highlight the mission that you're going to go to, there's like 4 icons with colons that are presumably there to tell you the affinities and in which directions, but nobody ever explains that. Mousing over them doesn't do anything. Mousing over the affinities or the stats on your profile, when you're looking at your armor page, it doesn't show you what any of that shit is. Like I'm like, I have 187 rainy potion icon stat. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is. You level, you gain experience, and you level. I can't tell you how much experience it takes to get from one level to the next. You know why? It's not fucking displayed anywhere. Anywhere. I don't even know if leveling impacts your stats because it is one of those games where the stats come from the gear and your power level, right? Power level is different from your character's level. But there is a character level. I can't tell you if it helps. I have no idea. I would have to look at my stats knowing I'm about to level and then look at them afterwards. Problem is, I don't know whenever the fuck I'm going to level, so I can't tell if the stats went up or not simply based on just leveling. I don't know. I have no clue. No clue. There is so much missing. Anyway, go watch the first look. Go watch the first look. Chat, don't go anywhere. Next up, Miss Faye Death. How are you, Faye?
Hey, I was doing fine until I heard about that monstrosity.
Hey, I need 3 people to play Babylon's Fall with me.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I'll take one for the team. This sounds awful. Who let them design this?
Oh, I should say that cutscenes, by the way, are done in 3 totally different styles.
Okay.
There's still painting ones that have like maybe 1 arm movement and they're very stylized. Then there's other ones where the characters move a little bit, and then there's fully done rendered cutscenes. The problem is they interchange them. Like you'll be in the middle of a cutscene and it'll transition from one to the other, and it's just like it's so jarring. It is so jarring. I don't know. I don't know. What are you playing tonight? Because I know it's not Babylon's Fall.
It is not. In my world, I guess could be worse. I may not be great at games, but we have fun. I'm still wrestling with the Joes in Alien. But I've got my Switch hooked up, so if we finish Alien, we can have Ruined King as a treat.
Nice. Nice. Don't go anywhere, chat. Give us a few minutes after the show to flip everything over. We will, of course, be back next week to talk about the live letter and 6.1. Until then, Kronos, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, same as always. Twitter below. I got Batman to go watch. I got Elden Ring to beat somehow before I play Triangle Strategy, so it's going to be interesting. We'll see.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at MagicMan1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio so we can tweet at you every time we go live with one of our podcasts or our volunteer streamers. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. Later.